My next guest and speaker needs no introduction, but I will try. He has worn many hats in his career and excelled at them all. He was part of the famed CSS class of 1964, served as a public servant across 1964 to 1979. He then worked for the World Bank as a senior executive between 1974 and 1999. The next 6 years, he was the governor of the State Bank of Pakistan. From 28 to 10, he was the dean of IBA, and then later on, the advisor to the Prime Minister on institutional reforms. Recipient of the Nishan-e-Imtiaz and the Nishan-e-Pakistan, please join me in extending a warm welcome to Dr. Ishrat Husain, our chief guest for the event.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, let me thank the CFA Society for inviting me to this very, exciting challenge, competition organized for the students of our leading universities. I must emphasize that the world around us is changing very rapidly. And what is going to last in this turbulent waters is the acquisition, assimilation, and application of knowledge. And knowledge itself is not constant. Knowledge also keeps on changing over time. So those of you, and because I always am very inspired when I see the young men and women, those of you who decide that they will work hard, they will have a sense of commitment rather than looking for grades, looking for quick fixes, looking for jobs, 9 to 5, I don't think they have much of a future in this particular world of knowledge economy. What is going to hold you is the yearning for lifelong scholarship and learning, lifelong. The jobs which existed in 2005 don't exist today. And the jobs which exist today will not exist in 2030. And therefore, you have to keep on equipping yourself with the new skill sets, the new information, new knowledge, which is expanding exponentially. I was told that Pakistan has never won a global challenge competition so far held by the CFA Society. And that to me is a very disturbing story, because I want Pakistanis to excel like the Filipinos or like the Indians. We don't want to remain behind. I was just looking at the Fortune 500 companies, and Indians are only 1% of the population of the United States of America. But 25 CEOs of Fortune 500 companies are all Indian Americans because they have excelled in their fields. And lo and behold, yesterday, I was informed that my old institution, World Bank, is going to be headed for the first time by an Indian American, Ajay Banga. That shows the power of hard work, commitment, and acquisition and assimilation of knowledge. So my dream which I want to share with you, is that when the CFA Society of Pakistan informs me, if I'm still alive, that Pakistan has won the global competition. That's a challenge for all of you. And that will happen when you work with your mentors, which the CFA Society provides. And I understand that the mentors have a hard time because the students are always looking for shortcuts. They're not looking to commit themselves to hard work. And unless you do that, you're not going anywhere. You are fooling yourself and you are fooling everybody else. You belong to the most prestigious institutions this country has. If you can't do it, I don't know who else is going to do it. So I would very much expect the students here to spread the word to their institutions that they have to change their mindset, their attitudes. Because a professional is one who has a knowledge, attitude, and practices, KAP. Unless your attitude is commensurate with your goals, you cannot actually achieve very much, even if you have got the knowledge. And those knowledge and attitudes are then translated into your practice of your profession, whatever profession you have. The other challenge I want to place to you is that today's world is going into export of services rather than export of goods. It is the fastest growing area. It's no longer the exports of goods, merchandise goods, which used to be expanding very rapidly. In the 21st century, the rate of growth of exports of services is extremely, high compared to the merchandise. And at some point of time, these services would actually overtake the merchandise because they have become tradable. And technology has enabled us to do that. Pakistan had very much qualified accountants and financial professionals. When I was invited to the Middle East, some of the companies told me that they hire Pakistani accountants and financial professionals. But the pass rate of the Institute of Chartered Accounting of Pakistan, which was supplying most of it, was only 13-14%. So I persuaded the managing committee with great difficulty, it took me a long time, to have the BS Accounting and Finance, in which all those papers which are required for the ICAP exams are taught at the undergraduate level, and only 2 or 3 papers are then additionally offered by ICAP along with the clerkship. So the quality of your intake for accounting professional would improve. And this didn't limit only, although we pioneered it in IBA, but this is a spread among other institutions. Now, CFA Society, I have seen, has also expanded its reach. So you have a critical mass of professionals, both on the accounting side as well as the finance side. And you are actually migrating. There is a lot of migration of individual professionals. But the export of services, if it is embodied in a firm, in a company, brings 35 to 40% more foreign exchange to a country, rather than individuals going in. But I don't find any company in Pakistan which is organized to export the services of our financial professionals. You need a teamwork among various disciplines, because no single discipline can offer you all the solutions. And that requires collaboration. Unfortunately, we are very good in conflicts. We are very good in pulling each other's legs, but very bad in working together across disciplines because our egos are highly exaggerated. So my second request to all of you, the young men and women present here, is that rather than looking for individual opportunities, you should try to work together in form of the company and start exporting the services, at least to the Middle East, where there is a huge demand. And there are companies from India which have already penetrated the Middle East market. And I personally feel that our professionals are judged to be better than those from India. So why are we losing this opportunity? So I will very much like CFA Society, its members, to think about it as to how you can do a service to this country and to your members by creating this kind of organizational structure which will export the services and earn foreign exchange for this country, because the export of merchandise goods are not going to be as important as the export of services. Of course, IT and IT-enabled services are expanding in this country. There are a lot of startups which are coming up, and right now, because of the global recession, the investment has slowed down, but at least for the future, this is the way forward, and I'm quite sure that these startups will actually be able to take off. Why I'm so keen on the IT and IT-enabled services, because out of all the unicorns in the world, the highest number of unicorns, which is 66, are in India. Last year, they created 16 unicorns. And we don't have one single unicorn. There are 5 Pakistani Americans who have established themselves as the unicorns. But within Pakistan, we don't have a unicorn. And that's a part of the export of services. These are some of the challenges. I was very pleased to listen to the story of the maple leaf, that they didn't give up and they did not fall in a mood of despondency and say, well, nothing is going to happen. They reinvented themselves. And that is what dynamic institutions and organizations have to do. They have to reinvent themselves with the passage of time and try to use the situation of the crisis in order to find the opportunities for the future. And Maple Leaf has done from 122% of the debt, they have come down to 28%, which is quite a remarkable feat. But also our financial institutions are so risk averse today that they're only investing in the T-bills and the PIBs because they don't want to take any chances. They are scared of rescheduling, of restructuring, of reprofiling of debt. But in a dynamic world where the situation is so uncertain and so fluid, it is the responsibility of the financial institutions to be equally responsive and help them as the conditions change to rethink, to relook, and to re-examine how they can help our manufacturing sector, our export sector, our small and medium enterprises, and even the big companies. So this very myopic view of profit maximization by putting all your investment in the risk-free government securities and avoiding all other avenues of productive investment. People ask me, why is it that every time the growth curve moves up in the country, we have a current account deficit and we have a crisis? Ladies and gentlemen, the answer lies very simply in the mismatch between your aggregate demand, which is generated by incomes coming in from higher growth, and the domestic productive capacity. There's no match between them. You have an agrarian country, and you spend $10 billion in importing wheat, sugar, cotton, pulses, edible oil. Then we have been talking of petrochemical complex for I don't know how many years since I have joined the government service. We've been talking of the petrochemical complex because everything today from man-made fiber to the plastics to everything depends on the petrochemical complex. We haven't had a petrochemical complex. We have old refineries which are completely outdated, and we have to import products from other countries. We had a steel mill which had a capacity of 3 million tons, but never exceeded 1 million tons, so it was actually losing money because of the mismanagement and being in the government sector. Now, if you don't have steel, you don't have plastics and petrochemical chemicals, if you don't have your agrarian food and cotton fibers, how can you not spill over your demand into the imports? That's the logical, conclusion. So, what is the responsibility of our financial institutions, both the banks as well as the non-banking financial institutions and the capital markets? It is to help expand the productive capacity in agriculture, in manufacturing, and in the services sector, which contribute to the expansion of the capacity. If you don't do that, and finance is the basic element, I think we will move from one crisis to another crisis. We will have to go to the IMF every second or third year because we haven't put our house in order. So that is the answer to this very important question, which I am put everywhere I go, as to why India is growing by 7-8%. But look, Apple has now decided to have 25% of their production capacity in India. So Foxconn, which is the supplier, so the entire supply chain to Apple has also shifted to India. And all the forward linkages from Apple all the way to the shipping and to the freight, that value chain is also internalized in India. Look at the multiplier effect of this particular investment. When Apple comes in, many other companies say, well, the situation is very conducive for us to also go and invest our money. So just to give you an eye-opening statistic, ladies and gentlemen, because some of you were not even born at that time. In 2006 and 2007, Pakistan received foreign direct investment of 6 billion each. That means 12 billion in 2 years. India, which has 8 times the economy, received only 12 billion as compared to our 6 billion. They should have received how much? 48 billion. 6 multiplied by 8. So if Pakistan is receiving 6, they should have got 48. That's a multiplication factor. Fast forward, 2022. India has received $81 billion. Pakistan, less than $2 billion. Because we have not provided the opportunities for the foreign investors to come and take care of the opportunities which exist in this country. This is an eye-opener for us, that we are not utilizing our resources, both the human resources as well as the natural resources and the financial resources in complete tandem in order to put this country on map. So I again appeal to our younger generation, the bright young men and women whom I had the pleasure of working very closely for 8 years. And now what I'm doing, I'm going only to the universities, colleges, and schools from Gilgit-Baltistan all the way to Balochistan. That's what I do most of the time, because I have to appeal to you to take this country forward. And it is by hard work, no shortcuts, commitment, and professional excellence. Thank you very much for inviting me, and wish you the winners. I don't know who the winners are, who the runner-up are, but I wish them success and congratulations. Thank you very much.